Okay, Algebra, section 8.3, factoring, box 1. So excited for this. But before we can get to this excitement, I have to review yesterday. So we did 2 different methods yesterday. We did GCF and, do you remember the other one? Grouping. And there's lots of examples here. So you guys can use however many you need, but I have lots so that you can keep practicing and learning. And you have plenty to help you. But this class, I came up with that title. So when you move on in your algebra and you say, oh, is that box 1? No one will know what you're talking about because I made it up. Box 1. But I promise you, if you go to previous students of mine and ask them about box 1, they know what you're talking about. So, what is this infamous box 1? Well, it's a simple way of looking at trinomials. What does tri mean? 3 terms. And being able to look at it and understand how it factors down. Okay, we're specifically looking today at things with a 1 before the x. Why did I pick a color that did not jump off the page? Let's try a different color. Blue. Also didn't jump off the page. Here. Like that. There's a 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. These all have a 1 before the x squared. That's box 1. Pretty creative, huh? So, this is how we do it. We're always going to set up a little box here. And when you set up that box, you're going to look for 2 numbers that add to give you b. And you're like, what is b? B is the number before the x. And if there's a subtraction here, you got to include that with it. And then we're looking for this 2 numbers that multiply to give you c. And that's your c right there. So you have to find the same 2 numbers that fulfill both of these. It's kind of like a little puzzle. Sounds confusing now, but I mark my words. A good chunk of you will think these are kind of fun. Not even joking, at least as far as math world goes. So, we are looking for 2 numbers that add to give you, which one is it? The number before the x, so 15. So you're going to write a 15 in there. And those same 2 numbers have to multiply to give you 36. So we have to think of multiples of 36. So sometimes if it's hard to think of them, you can start a little list off to the side here. So like 1 and 36. That's one pair, right? 1 times 36. How about 2? 2 and what? 18. And you're kind of going down this chain until you find things that when you subtract them or when you add them, you get that number. So 3. 3 and what gives you 36? 12. Ding, 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 ding. 3 plus 12 is also 15. So we think we got it. We're not really sure, but we pop these numbers into our box and we double check because sometimes we think a little too fast. 3 times 12 is 36. True. 3 plus 12 is 15. Also true. We are now done using those numbers, so we can cross those off. These are the gold mine, 3 and 12. And we are now going to be able to take this trinomial, and every time we are going to set it up into 2 parentheses. Kind of like what we did yesterday when we did that grouping. We always had the 2 parentheses. The first thing in each parenthesis is going to be the x and the x. That's how we get our x squared, x times x. If it happens to be a different letter, of course, use whatever letter they give you. But that is how you start each of them. Okay? Then, this is what the second part is, a 3 and a 12. So it's a positive 3 and a positive 12, so that means it's going to be a plus 3 and a plus 12. And you have factored that trinomial. Could I have put x plus 12 and x plus 3? Absolutely. It's multiplication, which is commutative. That's the answer to the question, folks. But if you were to check it, you can always check your answers to make sure they're right and FOILed it. X times x is x squared. X times 12 is 12x. 3 times x is 3x. You don't have to write this down. 3 times 12 is 36. Combine like terms and I get x squared plus 15x plus 36. Oh, I got it back. So I show you that to show you what that factoring is. It's breaking it down into two things. But when you multiply those two things, you should get that number back. Okay, so let's try it again. They're like little puzzles. Okay, what plus what equals? So let's think about what number am I going to write in here? Right, the 6. And they have to multiply to give you which number? The 5. Okay, so now we start with this. We start with multiples of 5. Well, there aren't many options, are there? How many things multiply together to give you 5, folks? 1 and 5. That's it. So let's try. Does that work? If we put a 1 and a 5 in here? 1 times 5 is 5. 1 plus 5 is 6. Yes, it does. Cross these off. I don't need those anymore. I just need to simply write my answer. So what did I start with when I was trying to put my answer? Yep, we start with 2 parentheses. What starts each of them? The x. And what finishes them? These two. But I don't just put 1. I put a plus 1 because it's a positive and a positive 5. Or you could have put the 5 first and then the 1. Done. All right, you guys, see if you can write the C in there. Write in what you think what number should go in there. Did you put 6 and 9? So the 6 goes here, 2 numbers that add to give you 6 and multiply to give you 9. Okay, good. So start thinking of things that multiply to give you 9. 1 and 9. That's not going to work. 2, no. Oh, 3 and 3. Does that work? Sure does. So make sure, put your 3 in there and 3 in there. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 plus 3 is 6. Yes, it works. I'm done with that. Now I just write my answer. Set up the 2 parentheses. X is first in both. And they're both positives. So positive 3 and positive 3. Okay, so I kind of got you set up with those little boxes. Those are why it's called box 1, because we make boxes. We're going to do it now. You're going to set up your box. Okay, so we set what plus what equals what. What times what equals what. You're going to be doing these on your homework. Do you hear me? In order to get full credit, you got to show your boxes. It's okay if you can do it in your head. It's perfectly fine. You still have to show your boxes. Okay, so what number are you going to put here? -8. Did you guys say -8? I hope. Not just 8. Has that subtraction for the first time. And the second one is 15, so things get a little tricky with the negatives, but you can do it. So what factors are there of 15? We got 1 and 15. Nope. And 3 and 5. Will that work? Possibly. We got to figure this out with the negative, because 3 times 5 is 15, but 3 plus 5 is 8, not -8. Ideas? How about -3 and -5? Yes. Yes. It works. So again, you set it up. X goes first. But now it's a -3. So I'm going to put subtract 3. And it's a -5, so I'm going to put subtract 5. All right, go ahead and set up your box. Always put the addition first. multiplication second. And the reason is because then it goes in order of the numbers, so we don't get them mixed up. So 10 and 24. Okay, if you're not sure, start your factor list. 24, 1 and 24. Nope, that's not going to give you 10 when you add or subtract these two. How about 2 and 12? Huh, 2 and 12, that could work, couldn't it? It could, because if you subtract them, you'd get 10. I'm a little concerned, though, because one of them would have to be a negative. That'd have to be a negative 2, and this is positive, so that's not necessarily going to work. How about 3? 3 and 8? Does that work? No, that's 11 or 5. How about 4 and 6? Does that work? Oh, there we go. See, so sometimes there's something that you may put the 2 and the 12 in here and try it, and you're like, it's not working. What am I doing wrong? Well, maybe you're not doing anything wrong. Maybe you just need to try to find a new pair. Done with that. Now write our answer. Put your x's in first. They're both positive, so plus 4 and plus 6. All right. And again, at some point, if you're getting them, it's up to you, but you can kind of move along here. Try to do one on your own, and if you can. Sometimes it's hard to think of the answers. What plus what equals what? What times what equals what? You don't actually have to put the box around them. I'm okay if you just set these up like this. That's fine. And then we have 7 and 12. Multiples of 12. 1 and 12. That's not going to work. 2 and 6. 3 and 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. Nice. See, that's why these are kind of fun, is you're just trying to think of these it's like a number puzzle. Now we can make our parentheses, put our x in. They're both positive numbers, the 3 and the 4. Okay, they have to be the same numbers you're putting in there for both, and it has to work. All right, a few more. Go ahead, set up your box. Anybody see it? I'm not saying anything. I'm hoping you're finding it. 2 and 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 plus 4 is 6. Don't need that anymore. X plus 2 and x plus 4. Set up your box. Five and 6. That's similar to one we already did before. We had 6 and 5 up at the top, but this is different. Do you see it? 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 plus 3 is 5. There it is, x plus 2 and x plus 3. There's lots of good practice here. 2 and negative 15. Oh, that's a little trickier. Once those negatives come in, it's trickier. Well, there's only so many options though. 1 and 15 and 3 and 5. Obviously the 3 and the 5 are 2 apart, so that makes sense for that. And I need to have one be negative, so I think we can work with that. So let's put the 5 and the 3 in, and now we got to figure out where the negative comes from, because in order to have a negative, when you multiply, one of them has to be negative. But I have to pick the right one so that when I add them I get a positive 2. So which one should be negative, do you think? That's right, this one. Because if I had picked this one, that would have been negative 5 plus 3, and that would have been a negative 2. So I'm done with that. And again, just be careful. This is a plus 5, but then this is a minus 3 because it was negative. All right, Jay, am I going too fast? Yeah, I'm kind of moving a little faster because hopefully you're getting the hang of it here. What plus what equals what times what equals negative 6 and 8. Again, then we got a negative in there. So we got 1 and 8, 2 and 4. It's got to be the 2 and 4. There aren't any other options. Can you guys think of a way that we can make that work? I mean, yes, it works here, but it doesn't work here. This needs to be a negative. So if I switch those to negative, does it still work? It does, because 2 negatives multiply to give you that. So I get x minus 2 and x minus 4. All right, 2 more. Negative 8 and negative 20. Okay, so we've got 2 negatives now. So we got 1 and 20, we got 2 and 10, and 4 and 5. Those are our only options. I'm guessing it's the 2 and 10. Those are the only ones that have a difference of 8. So let's see what we can do here. 2 and 10. I've got to get a negative. So in order to multiply and get a negative, one of the two has to be negative. So which one would it be in order to get a negative 8 up here? That's right, that one. X plus 2 and then x minus 10. All right, and the last one. Hopefully you're doing some of these on your own and pausing the video. Well, there's only 2 options again, right? 1 and 21 and 3 and 7. It's going to be the 3 and 7 to get 10. And there you go. The awesome, the amazing box 1.